Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Welcome to BJ and Bill, the podcast, a part of the podcast playground. Please give us that 5-star review. Subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast. And of course, follow us on Facebook, BJ and Bill, the podcast. And as always, you can email us, bjandbillpodcast@gmail.com. I must apologize before we start the show. I welcomed you to episode 106 last week.
Yes, I heard that as I was editing the show afterwards.
And it was episode 107.
And so now where are we, boys and girls?
Now we are at 108, and we are out of the FM dial.
We're into uncharted territory. Episode 108. We're off the FM. I know. To boldly go where no podcast. Well, lots of podcasts have gone before, so it's okay.
And we got a long way to catch up with Joe Rogan, that's for sure.
Oof. No kidding.
Why won't this let me move up? I don't know what's wrong with my little, see, it's not really a teleprompter, but I have like a little, cheat sheet here.
Right.
It won't let me slide it up. Really weird. No, there it slides
Computer
up.
issues?
I guess that's what I'd call it. Pain in the ass. That's what I would call it. This morning. I'm not in a very good mood, by the way.
I can't imagine NFL, WNBA. Why?
I'm about to that point again. I'm ready to give up on sports. Just when it has me, just when it has grabbed me and brought me in, and I go, oh, Baker Mayfield, he's going to end up being a great quarterback. He's going to take this team all the way. If they win 3 in a row, I will buy a Baker Mayfield jersey.
We actually heard that on previous episodes of the show, and we were hopeful.
I had it in the queue ready to push send. I was ready, baby.
Finger on the buy button.
But
I
I don't know. They need an offensive line.
They were flat as a sheet of paper yesterday. They were just yes. And normally good defense, not so much. And normally Baker gets to scramble, not so much. And normally Godwin makes a few big catches. He had 1 or 2, but not so much. It was even just Evans. A terrible, as Charles Barkley would say, terrible day for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers yesterday. It was awful. And so BJ Odom now is going to go. I'm not going to say he's going to go back on his promise. He did say if they won the first 3. So if you were listening to previous episodes, BJ had talked about buying a Baker Mayfield jersey, an expensive one. Of course, they're all expensive, but he didn't. And now BJ is off the hook. I don't know what to say. I don't know.
Well, maybe they'll win.
Give him another chance or what?
Well, I am going to wash my shirt.
That's right.
I have a championship shirt that I haven't washed since, game 1 of the season.
I've never really understood the washing part. I
thought that
doesn't matter if it's clean or not. Are you going to wash the good luck off of it? Is that?
Yeah, I thought that was going to pull me through.
Okay.
That thing is in the damn hamper right now.
Big laundry day here at Bill's place too, so it's okay. It's okay. You can do that.
And then, of course, said, well, this Bucs game is no good. 3:00. Thought I'd go over and watch, little Caitlin Clark and, watch the Fever.
Indiana
got a fever watching that game.
Right. They got beat there pretty bad too. So,
and even the NASCAR race at my favorite racetrack, Bristol, was kind of a dud this week. I think I should just stay with chick flicks and And Hallmark movies.
Go back to your Hallmark movies. That's it. I hadn't thought of that as an option. Because I was just about to ask, well, what will you do, BJ, if there's no football on Sunday? There's the Hallmark Channel.
I have a plan.
Oh,
but
boy.
I can't do this. Let me put this on real quick.
He's putting his kind of cowboy hat on. Kind of cowboy hat.
Well, I got a really nice white one, but you got to wear black when you do this.
Right.
I'm going to go out and buy one of those little rubber cigars too, so I can go. How about them Cowboys?
They got roughed up by Baltimore yesterday. Baltimore was 0-2. Their season was on the line. I mean, and so Baltimore came loaded for Bear. Well, they weren't playing the Bears. Loaded for Cowboys, and they were. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Whatever. So
yeah, it was not a really good. Basically, it should have just been a Hallmark weekend,
I guess. And then up here in North Central Florida, as we always say, NCFL, we have. Of course, we record this podcast on a Monday. Tonight, there are 2 Monday Night Football games, 2 different games, one at 7:30 on ESPN or ABC or EB. I don't know who has the first one. I think it's ESPN at 7:30, ABC at 8 o'clock. One of the 2 are Jacksonville Jaguars going to Buffalo to get beat up by the Bills. So I have a feeling that's not going to be pretty either. Of course, I will be watching from the familiar lazy boy and rooting as best I can, at least for the first 20 minutes. We'll see what happens. So, yeah, I don't have high hopes for tonight either. So
I didn't even watch any college games on Saturday.
Those weren't great either. I mean, Ohio State playing some Marshall or some high school team. Now, I will say the Gators looked really nice against Mississippi State. I don't know if that was an SEC game. Big, it was right there. I think they just probably would have fired the whole staff for the Gators if they'd have lost that one. So Billy Napier, does he keep his job for another week? Probably. But in Florida, boy, the Gator faithful are, I'm not going to say getting restless. They are restless. They are starting to look around and say, gee, Urban Meyer, you're not doing anything on that TV show, are you? You want to come back to Gainesville? You loved it here. So who knows? I don't know.
Like I said,
I don't know what to tell you.
I think I'm about fed up with football. Sports. No,
and it's only week 3.
Sports. When does basketball season start? But I don't even have high hopes for my Warriors either. So go back to beer drinking.
About a month to answer your question. NBA season starts in about a month. So I don't know. And you don't really care. Baseball.
Yeah, baseball.
Playoffs are getting ready to start. You don't care.
Where are the Cubs? I don't even know if the Cubs are.
Where do the Cubs?
I don't even know where they are. I don't know nothing about baseball.
I'll look that up while we chat. I'll look that up.
The only baseball I was interested in the last 10 years, maybe. Well, right. Whenever the Cubs won the World Series, I was into that series.
Oh, wow. That's
a while probably ago. The last time I really was into baseball, except for that Little League World Series this year was pretty good.
Little League World Series was awesome. It really was. Yes. For you Tampa Bay fans, I would say the Tampa Bay Rays are effectively out of it. They're way down. They're in 4th place in the AL East. Now, for yours truly, Cleveland has already clinched in the AL Central. So, okay, I got something to watch there. I got Cleveland Guardians to watch. So that'll be okay.
My daughter's not really a sports fan, but she has this new boyfriend.
Right.
Well, he's not really new now. He's been around for a while.
Yeah, no kidding.
But he's another Cleveland boy like you.
Yay.
So she's got her Cleveland Brown shirt. She's got her, I don't know, she's kind of behind time. She's got an Indian shirt.
Well, there's a lot of those still out there. Yeah, that's fine.
They went to the game this summer. They were up there this summer. and went to a game. And of course, they both wore in their Indian outfits to a
Nice.
So
Very
they were
nice.
kind of, I guess, retro. I don't know.
Right. It's not a bad ballpark. It's not a fabulous ballpark, but it's okay for an in-town Cleveland. And there's plenty of nice little restaurants and bars around after the game. It's okay.
I think she's supporting just because of the new boyfriend. I don't know. She's never really been a sports fan. Well, she hasn't been a hockey fan.
Right. I remember her being a hockey fan from way, way, way back. But I mean, you wouldn't, if you were a sports fan, you wouldn't pick Cleveland. You wouldn't. It's not like, oh, Cleveland. I live in Spokane, but I love the Cleveland sports teams. No, you wouldn't do that. So good for her. I know it's the boyfriend. I get it. That's fine. Good for her. We appreciate the support.
I'm going to change gears a little bit and talk to Bill Stevens, the computer guru.
I'm listening because we're pretty much done with sports anyway. So I'm ready. We're toast on that. So put a fork in.
My wife, she's on the phone right now in the other room, so we can't hear her.
Okay.
She turned a certain age.
Yes.
And now she has this new medical insurance and
of course
things like that. So she now has, like all insurance companies, you have like a little website. You can have a username and password.
Yes.
And this isn't the first time this has happened. It's happened with other websites. So she's on, with the tech people there from her insurance company.
Yes.
I forgot my username and password.
Oh.
What is a good way to, do you want to write them down, put them somewhere in the house? Let's talk to the professional about this.
Right. Well, it's funny because 20 years ago, when I was doing my little tech support side hustle business in Fort Myers, which I did all through the time you and I were working and everything like that, I would always arrive at a client's house and they would have on their computer screen, on the edges of the monitor, there were like a row of Post-it notes that had all their names and passwords written on them. And I would always tell my client, by the way, when you see that brand new 65-inch flat screen TV on your bill next month, that'll be at my house. But so anyway, bad idea to leave them in public. Now, to write it down in a notebook, which you keep in your desk near the computer somewhere, is probably not a bad idea for most people. Now, obviously, if you're in a place where that could be found by somebody else, not a good idea, but you're in your own house. It's just you and your wife, and hopefully she trusts you. I'm not so sure, but hopefully she trusts you. So is it a bad idea? No, it's not a bad idea. Now, I will say that it's a way, way better idea to have a password manager, which is a little piece of software which runs on your computer, and you only need one username and password. Usually my usernames are always my email address, and then a unique password. And so you sign into this password manager, and now whenever you go to a website that has, a username and a password, it automatically pops it in there. It like magic, like, wow, cool. And to me, that's the best way. But again, it's more technology and it's not for everybody. So if you want to write it down in a little notepad and then put the notepad in a drawer somewhere, okay, fine. I mean,
so would it be good to put it on your, like, let's say you have an iPhone.
Sure.
And so let's say you can't remember all your passwords. So you go to your notes and you put them all in notes. Is that a good idea?
Not really, no, because people can read that. Now, having said that, the new iPhone software, iOS 18, which if you're an iPhone person, you know what I'm talking about, because it's always a big deal when the new version comes out, and it always comes out like September, like now. So it's already out there. So if you are an iPhone person, you probably have the new iOS, which stands for iPhone software or iPhone operating system on your device, on your phone, on your iPad, on your whatever. There is a password app on your phone right now, which will do all the things I was talking about, which will keep all of your names and passwords and stuff like that. Very, very, very secure. Is it the absolute best? I don't know, but I trust Apple to be pretty secure with that stuff. As opposed, there are third-party companies too, like LastPass is a good one, and NordPass, N-O-R-D, NordPass is another one. RoboForm is another one. There's a ton of them. You got to pay for them. I mean, they're not expensive. They're like $10 a year. But the new iOS software for your iPhone and your iPad has a passwords app right on it and will automatically fill in names and passwords when you get to a website that Now, I just thought of this, so let me rewind a little bit. You guys have Windows computers, right? So your wife is on a computer somewhere trying to do a name and a password.
Yeah.
Not going to work for that. There's a extension that you can add to your window. Now we're getting a little technical here, and I don't want to go overboard with that. But again, if you're on a Windows computer, you can buy one of those like LastPass, or they even have free versions of some of those.
Norton has one.
Norton has one. Not a big fan, but they have one. Yes.
Okay. That's what I use on my computer.
And that's fine.
But I just use my face on my iPhone.
Right.
If I ever wake up and stuff. If I ever wake up, like they do on soap operas and look completely different because they change characters or something, I got a new actor.
Yeah.
I'll have a problem. But as long as I wake up every morning looking like me, I should be good.
Face not recognized. Yeah, I hear you. But then you can use your passcode. Yeah.
Now listen to this though. I do have a lot of my passwords on the little note thing. On the note thing, but the passwords are like in my language. So they're not the real passwords. They're not the real passwords.
Oh.
But
that's cool.
They're passwords in me knowing what the little note is I have, but not the actual password.
Gotcha. So you wrote something as a password that will remind you of the real password, but it's not the real password.
Yes.
I like that. That's very cool. That's until we, can capture BJ Odom and, torture him to tell us what his passwords are, that's fine.
Yeah, because I have a few words. I have a few words that I use as the first word, and then a couple of number rotations.
Sure.
So usually it's just the first letter of the word and the first number of the rotation, and that's it.
I used to, when I taught classes, real live in-person classes, before that big sickness that closed the world down, I used to teach computer classes, and I would teach people to come up with a system, a formula for passwords that they could use that would make it easy to remember. Just all you had to do was remember the formula, and okay, now I'm on this pass. So I would say, for me, and I don't do this anymore, so feel free to try it on any of my password protected sites. It won't work. But what I would do is I would take the first 4 letters of the site I was on. I'm on google.com. What's your password for Google, Bill? What's your password for Gmail? Okay, cool. I would take the Gmail, first 4 letters, GMAI, and I would capitalize the last one, GMA capital I. I would put 4 numbers in that I knew. I don't know, take 4 numbers out of your social security number and reverse it. Ooh, clever. That or jumble them up. And then put a special something at the end of it, like an exclamation mark or a $sign or both of them or something like that. And that way you have a formula. So now, oh, wait, I'm on the Medicare site. MED, capital I, 4 numbers, exclamation mark, $sign. That way I don't have to remember what it is. I just have to remember the formula for everything that that might be too complicated. Go out, spend the $10, get the LastPass Pro, and you'll be happy.
I just hope my wife never figures out that I use the last 4 digits of my girlfriend's phone number.
That might be an issue. I'm just saying. So there you go. Yeah.
No, I don't do that.
I know.
That was
I
me
trust you
doing
a
some
little.
comedy here in the
I know. I
podcast.
trust you a little. It's okay. But yeah, passwords are, I mean, that's a thing. That's a huge, huge thing because people will use the same one over and over again. Okay, great. If I figure out what your password is on Gmail, now I know your Amazon, your, Shopify, your what. That's not good. Don't do that. So
And then,
these password managers, they will create long, crazy, undecipherable passwords for you. That's a good thing.
and then the crazy thing about it all,
Yes.
forgot what I was going to say, and that's crazy.
Passwords. Girlfriend's phone number. Whatever. Yeah, I hear you. So,
But yeah, so just thought because she is like all the time going to her little whatever,
website.
oh, what's my password? Oh, what's my, yeah. I go, why don't you just write it down somewhere so you at least have it somewhere and you
Right.
can open it up.
You can do that, but nowadays websites want you to have such complicated passwords for security reasons that it's a pain in the butt. It really is to write it down. And now I'm going, was that an O or a 0? Is that a 1 or an exclamation mark? I don't remember.
And then you have these ones that go every 90 days.
They make you change it.
Yeah. It's like, I just learned this one, you sons of a bitches.
I don't I hear you. I refuse to learn any password. I couldn't tell you a single password except for the master password that unlocks my password manager software. That's all I need to know. That's enough.
I have complicated ones, like, for my TV places where you can like, you always have to have a password for your, Disney.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
your
like
online
that.
accounts. Yeah.
Yeah, those are kind of simple.
Yeah.
I keep those. What? Somebody's going to watch my Disney account?
Right. Right.
But when I get to my bank accounts and my credit cards and stuff like that, then I try to use my noggin as much as it'll possibly
really?
be used.
All right.
But
Glad to hear it.
It's still my noggin that we're using. So
it's okay. It's okay. Get a password manager, people. That's what computer guy Bill has to say. Get a password manager. You can do it for free with like LastPass, lastpass.com. And if you need help with that, let me know and I'll make a video about it or something. I've done that in the past. I can do it again.
I like to put these little questions on our Facebook page.
Yes.
By the way, BJ and Bill, the podcast.
Yes.
You can do that on Facebook and follow along and answer some of our little stupid questions. I so want to put this on our Facebook page as a question, but I know if I do, it'll become a big political yo-yo, which I hate. But I think this would be a fun question if people would take it as a fun question.
All right.
To answer and not a serious political question.
Give it a try. All right, folks, you have our disclaimer. This is not about politics or anything else. It's just for fun.
If an alien knocked on your door today and asked, take me to your leader, who would you take them to? And I would want, answers like Mickey Mouse.
Right.
Or,
right. Yeah, but you're going to get in trouble
I know what
that.
I would get. Well, it sure as hell wouldn't be no way would it, or I'm going to do. And then, that was stupid because you're going to, eat that. So I'm not going to ask the question.
Yeah, no, you're asking for trouble with that one. You really are.
But
was it the very, very first Avengers movie? Maybe it was the second one where Robert Downey Jr. had a great line like that. And the alien bad guys arrived to take over the world, of course. And Robert Downey Jr. with his usual, straight face says, yeah, the Earth's kind of closed right now. So that would be my answer. It's like, yeah, you don't really want to do that, do you? I mean,
yeah. I was thinking of it. I go, this would be such a cool question. And I go, no, it wouldn't, because BJ and Bill fans would all of a sudden get into a damn fight. They'd be yelling at each other, screaming at each other. And I go,
we don't want that.
It's just not worth it.
Yeah. No. So your answer would be Mickey Mouse. That's your leader.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good. Yeah.
That's my leader. I guess.
Of course, that comes with a lot of baggage too.
He's
Just
the
saying
leader
Mickey
of
Mouse. That comes
Oh
with a
yeah,
lot.
that could be political, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Taking a crap in the woods anymore is political.
Does a bear do it in the woods? That's political now.
Yeah.
As long as he uses recycled green toilet paper, I guess.
Yeah, or doesn't put too many gases out while he. Speaking of gas, let me tell you, I put a lot of gas into the air, and I'm sorry. I know that's gonna really. I can't even walk down the aisle at Walmart without
something going on. I was
having a little band follow along. Hey, where'd the orchestra come from?
It's from a man who has an electric car. I was worried about that for a second, and then I remembered, not that kind of gas. So you're eating something that your body is turning into gas and not fuel for your body.
Yeah. What's up with that anyway?
I don't know. I don't got no answers.
I do not like it. I do not like it.
Well, take a look at what you're eating. It's always what you are eating. Always about what you put into your body that causes harm, that makes it work well, all of that stuff. I'm not a great practicer. Is that the word? I don't practice what I preach, but I do preach the eat good stuff and your body will thank you for it. I wish I could be a little better about that, but there were some cookies in the house last night during the football game. What am I going to say?
Here, let's see. Well, we don't have very many, but I did put this on the Facebook page.
Okay.
And this was our Facebook question. Ask BJ and Bill a question here, and we promised to answer it on the next podcast.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So here's the question from Bart Anderson.
Bart?
Yep.
I've only known that man for 100 years.
I think he's only like 97, so I've only known him for 97.
Great. I love you, Bart.
I met him though when I was 3, so you know how old I am.
Right.
What do y'all miss about being on terrestrial radio, and what did you hate most?
Well, that's a damn good question, though. Really good question. What did you miss most about being on the radio? What do you miss most about being on the radio? And what don't you miss? Yeah. Well, what I don't miss is getting up at 4:00 in the morning.
That would be my answer too.
Oh boy.
I don't miss at all.
Not at all.
But we do kind of the same thing here on the podcast.
Right.
But one thing that we don't do, and we can't really do because, we do this on Monday. I guess we could tell everybody, but I don't think it would work. But we don't get to take phone calls and do little silly contests like we did. That was all. I think one of my favorite parts of the show was always taking phone calls.
Well, yes, I agreed. It was just the live part of it. The fact that it was happening immediately in the because and we don't do it. We don't have big screw ups here on the podcast that Bill needs to go back and edit out later on, because that's kind of my job, the editing part. And so we don't do that. But you're right. The ability, the cool factor of doing the show live and having people respond to it in that split second is what makes radio the cool thing that it is when it's done live and immediately. Nowadays, of course, there are so many shows, so many stations out there that are, using pre-recorded disc jockeys or computers or whatever. That makes no sense to me. To me, the power of radio is, something happened in Gainesville last night, and we're going to talk about it today and get reactions from people and involve the community. To me, that's always been the big thing, is the real live involvement of your audience with you. That was, plus the fact that when, our money was no good at Mel's Diner, that was the best. That was the best.
Speaking of that, Manager Bill contacted me again this week.
I hope
he is begging BJ and Bill to come record the podcast at Mel's Diner. And I told him, I'd come visit my son every once in a while, but you're in Gainesville now. And
right. I go to Sarasota. If I go down to Venice occasionally to visit old computer clients and friends and stuff. So, it's not impossible. It's absolutely possible. It would take a little bit of making sure the, schedule coordination worked out, but it's doable. It's doable.
And we need to do that for old manager Bill.
We do. We certainly do. And it would certainly help us too. I imagine it would help us. We could have a little card or a little something printed up to say, hey, this show is going to air at such and such a date on such and such, find it on Apple and Spotify and iHeartRadio and all that stuff. Go listen. And there you go. So It could help us gain some audience. Sure.
Now, my son does a few podcasts, and I know in the past they've done theirs on location a few times.
Cool.
And, they had people actually say, hey, why don't you do your podcast from our place? And they actually went and did it, of course, but they're all in Fort Myers. So that makes it a lot easier for them.
I have seen, and is he on the Vinyl Boys? Is he on that show? Yes. I have seen ads for that show in a lot of interest. I'll be just surfing a website and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. That's Gentry. I'm seeing his picture. I'm like, wow, they're advertising their show. Wow.
They do that with us too.
Really?
Yes.
I think I have seen, I don't know if that's your post or if that's an ad, but I've seen posts for us on Instagram. Yeah.
Now, that's usually me, but I think they put those videos and use those also like on Google and things like that.
But they're actually advertising this show on other websites.
Yeah.
I'd love to see where and how. That sounds awesome.
I'm going to do one more question before we take a break.
Okay, cool.
And that's from our jokester and friend, Ted Fitzgeorge.
Of course it is. It was a toss-up as to who would answer first, Ted, or you brought up Bart Anderson, and I wouldn't have thought of that, but now you say it, of course. So, but Ted, yes, who's probably suffering through Gator Nation right now.
Yeah, both of those guys, too, are old radio guys, too.
So, Oh, yeah.
So, here's Ted's question. I'm going to let you answer this because it's way too intelligent for me.
Oh, please.
It's not new. And it's not Mexico. Why do they call it New Mexico?
I have no freaking idea.
This is what happens when we ask stupid questions on Facebook. We get stupid questions back.
Yeah, right. Play silly games, win silly prizes, as they say. So I have no idea, Mr. Fitzgeorge, but I will look it up and have an answer for you next week, maybe. Why is it new? And that's funny. That's funny. And it wasn't even. I lived in the last of the 48. Arizona was the last state to come into the nation in the lower 48. Then there was Alaska and Hawaii, but Arizona was not a state until 1912. So if there was anything that would be new, it would be Arizona, but it wasn't. So go figure.
That's like New York. York.
Yeah, but New York, those are all old English names. It was York, now it's New York. It was this, now it's new that. I get it. I think I get it. I don't know. And then there's the Norths and the South, North Dakota, South Dakota, East this, West, who knows? Why is it New Mexico? I don't know.
It's not even Mexico.
No. It's not even new. It's not even Mexico. Who knew? I don't know.
Well, thank you, folks, for your wonderful questions. But you can always go to Facebook and ask us a question, and we will answer it here on the show because we're two very intelligent human beings.
Or we will dodge the hell out of it because we don't know. All right, go refill your coffee, make your pit stop, do whatever you need to do, because we will be right back. Welcome back. I'm Bill Stevens. That's BJ Odom. This is BJ and Bill, the podcast. And like we said, if you would be so kind, we would really appreciate the 5-star review wherever you collect your podcasts, be that Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. YouTube Music has us. I subscribe to YouTube Music, and I saw our very own podcast there. Just leave the 5-star review wherever you get it, and we would appreciate it. And as always, like BJ said, if you have a question to ask, stop by our Facebook page. Just do a search for BJ and Bill podcast, and you will find it. And you can leave silly questions like our friends Bart and Ted this morning, and we'll try and answer them, maybe. Okay.
Sounds like they should have an excellent adventure together.
Yes,
Bart and Ted's
excellent adventure. Yes, what a great idea. I know, right? All right, we were talking before the break, and I couldn't resist. So I went over to our friend, Mr. Google, and I said, why is it named New Mexico? This is from Wikipedia, I think. Following their conquest of the Aztecs in the early 16th century, way before the United States, the Spanish began exploring what is now the southwestern corner of the United States, calling it Nuevo Mexico. In 1581, the Chamuscado and Rodriguez expedition named the region north of the Rio Grande, San Felipe, Nuevo Mexico. Boy, that's easy for me to say, but it's north of the river there that separates the United States and Mexico as Nuevo Mexico. So there you go. It dates all the way back to the Spanish explorations of the area. Of course, looking for, you guessed it, nothing but gold. Always looking for gold. That's always what it's about. So there you go. There's why it's New Mexico, because the Spanish explorers had to come up with a name, I guess.
Yeah, take that and put it in your pipe, Ted.
And it's not new. No, it dates back to the 16th century, for God's sakes. So anyway, before Ted was born by just a little.
I got a question for you.
I'm listening.
Now that we're retired.
Thank you.
Do you act? And I started thinking about this the other day, and I think I might. Do the weekends still have you sleeping in more than you do during the week?
I'll be honest, not really.
You sleep late all the time, right?
I sleep late all the time. I really do. And it's because I'm terrible at getting to bed at a reasonable hour. I mean,
yeah, me too.
Like last night. I mean, Sunday Night Football is on until 11:30, sometimes midnight. Tonight it's going to be later because you got 2 games, and the one doesn't start until later. But anyway, Sunday night's worse because they don't start until like 8:15, 8:30, something like that. So anyway, it's midnight. I'm not ready for sleep. I've been watching TV. I'll usually put on a YouTube video on my big screen TV or something like that just for fun. And I'll have a cup of tea, or I have that magnesium, that element drink that we've talked about.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'll have a cup of that. It's very yummy and helps you sleep and all of that. And then I'll go to bed, and then I'll have a book, and then I'll read for an hour. And so it's almost every day, I would say lights out is not until 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning, almost always. And so 8 hours of sleep, I'm up at the crack of 10 a.m. And that's about right. Monday morning, BJ Odom sends me a text at 10 a.m. Ready when you are. I'm just then rolling out of bed, making coffee, making a pit stop. And so to answer your question, yes, I'm retired. Does the weekend a better opportunity for sleeping in? No, every day is a better opportunity for sleeping in.
I still feel like, in a way,
yes,
I'm still working, because it seems like I have like doctor's appointments at least 3 days a week anymore, or either right. I or my wife,
right?
And I try to schedule those like mid morning, though, not early morning. But if we ever have to go to Tampa, we're always up by anywhere from 5 to 8 o'clock. Got to be on the road. So
really,
well, sometimes I have an appointment in Tampa, like at 8:30 or 8 o'clock, and
right,
like from where I am,
right,
that's about a 2 hour, to be safe with I-4 traffic.
With morning traffic, right?
Sometimes it takes a couple hours to get there, and sometimes you can be there. And if everything's smooth, you can be there like in an hour and a half.
Okay.
So
is that like you said, if there's zero traffic just from your place to Tampa General, that's an hour and a half?
Yeah, about an hour and a half.
Ooh, that's a haul. That's a good haul. So,
and like I said, usually things slow down
right
just before you get into Tampa.
Right.
And so, you can be sitting on I-4 and going, oh my gosh, good thing I left a half hour early.
Right. Well, yeah.
And then there's other days you're going, oh man, I could have slept in another half hour.
I hear you. So yeah, I don't, there's thankfully not, this is Bill knocking on wood. Thankfully, there's nothing that needs me to get up early in the morning like that anymore. Nothing. But I've been, I don't want to say it's bumming me out or I'm, challenged by I think I do want to start. And it's interesting you mentioned that, because I was talking about that on my other podcast with our friend Vicky Wagner. I was talking about having a morning ritual, and I don't mean like spiritual. I just mean, okay, I'm going to try and get up every morning at a certain time. I'm going to do a little exercising. I'm going to do, whatever, and try and have more structure to my day. Because I know sometimes if I sleep in 10:30 or whatever, I'll have my coffee, I'll sit out on the porch and read emails on my iPad. I get back to, by the time I'm back at the desk, it's, 12:30, 1 o'clock, the day's over. And then I'm like, okay, it's time for TV at night. I'm like, what did you do today? Absolutely freaking nothing. And that kind of bums me out. So I need to be better about that.
Yeah, I'm like, kind of in and out. Some days I wake up early.
What's early?
And they always say too, though, if you go to bed at the same time, you wake up at the same time.
I've heard that.
You sleep a whole lot better, but nice. I don't know. Here it's not like I got a real schedule, but I can't get to bed at the same time each night. I can't wake up at the same time. Like I might go 2 nights where I sleep like 10 hours.
Right.
But then the next night I can't sleep 6 because I'm like wide awake when I wake up at, 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's just weird.
You're right about the going to bed at a reasonable, consistent time. I've heard that. I've also heard getting up at a consistent time is very important. So I'm thinking if I can start to work myself into a good schedule, even if I'm in bed at midnight, even if I'm, whatever, hopefully lights out at midnight, let's say. And even if I sleep for 9 hours, good gosh, that's up at 9 a.m. That's a good start. I could try that. So yeah, I think maybe I'll tell, who, Miss Alexa, to set an alarm for every weekday at a certain time. And that way it'll kind of encourage me going, oh, that alarm's going off at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. I better get in bed and be snoozing. So worth a shot.
Good deal. You know what the real name for a hashtag is?
A number sign.
Nope. I mean, what is its actual name? We call it hashtag.
Hashtag.
It's not actually a hashtag, believe it or not.
Well, I don't know. What is the name of a hashtag?
I might have to spell it to you so it can be pronounced correctly, but I'll try.
Okay, try. I'm going to write it down here.
Octothorpe. Octothorpe.
Spell that.
Octothorpe.
Octothorpe.
An octothorpe.
An octothorpe, which sounds like an octopus, but it's not.
Maybe that's, I don't know. But yeah, that's what it says. Something you hear. I get these every once in a while. Something you didn't know yesterday.
I love those.
The real name for hashtag is Octothorpe.
Octothorpe.
Is
that, I was going to say, does it have, but it doesn't. It has 9 squares, like a tic-tac-toe board. It has 9 squares. So it's octo means 8 where I come from. Interesting. Do I have to look that up too? Come on, man.
Well, no, I just already told you. Why would you have to look it up?
I hear you.
But now you want to, you're like that little kid that goes, I want to know more.
I am kind of like that sometimes. Yes, yes. Oh, so there it is. Octothorpe. It even comes right up and it says another term for the pound sign, or also known as hashtag. Why is it called Octothorpe? The Octothorpe is believed to have been adopted by the telecom industry with the advent of one-touch dialing in the 1960s. It remains unknown, however, exactly how the symbol got its odd name. The octo part certainly refers to the 8 points on the symbol, but the Thorpe is a bit mysterious. So, in other words, they don't know.
Next time we should say, what's the Octothorpe? What do you mean? The hashtag. The Octothorpe. What's wrong with you?
I'm making the sign there. Octothorpe.
Are you like stupid or something? You don't know the Octothorpe?
You don't know that? Come on. Back to school for you.
Next time, yeah. Just
right.
Make sure you Octothorpe BJ and Bill.
Come on, BJ. Don't be pedantic. That's one of my favorite words. Pedantic.
What the hell does that mean?
That means using big words for the sake of using big words. I might have saw that, might have seen that, might have heard that. I don't know the correct English. Might have heard that on oh damn, what was the detective show? What was the oh damn, I forgot his name. The really, one more question. That detective.
I don't know.
Oh, damn it. All right, I don't remember.
Speaking of not really detective, but speaking of lawyers.
Oh God, must we?
I'm not going to give it away.
Okay.
But last night you were probably watching football.
Of course I was.
I was watching oh shoot. What is the lawyer's name? What's the TV show that
you were watching Matlock.
Matlock, the new Matlock with the woman.
Oh, by the way, it was Columbo was the old show. I looked it up. Matlock with the female Matlock. So you watched it? How was it?
Let me just tell our audience this.
Uh-oh.
You need to watch it.
Really?
Because,
Kathy Bates is, by the way, is the new Matlock.
It's an interesting, cute show.
Okay.
But, and I'm not going to give it away.
Uh-oh.
But it's got a major league twist at the end that you do not see coming, that really is the base of the show.
Really? Of the whole show?
The whole show is, you watch this entire 1 hour show.
Right.
And at the very end, they give you this nugget, this curveball that changes the dynamic of the show completely.
Really? I love that kind of stuff. Now you're going to make me go back and watch it.
It was ingenious. Very cute show.
Okay.
Ending is like, oh my God.
Really?
Yes.
Cool. Well, I'm glad to see that the writers, because it's always the unsung heroes of the shows, the writers who pull that stuff off. So, all right. So now you're going to make me go and watch Matlock.
Yeah, because I'm not going to give it away.
I think that was like one of my father's favorite shows back in the day. So we're thinking of you, Dad. Thanks. Okay. I'll go look it up. I'll go look it up for sure.
Maybe that'll be our homework then. And then again, next week you can say, oh, wow, that was interesting.
So I obviously did not have it set on my DVR, but I'm sure it will repeat somewhere.
Well, it should be. Don't you have, even with, because I don't know that much. I know you have YouTube TV.
I do have YouTube TV.
But can't you watch things on demand?
I think so. I think you're right. Yes, I think you're right. And the good news, of course, is when you watch it on demand, they don't always let you speed through the commercials.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's all right. I'll get up, that'll be my bathroom break or what. Besides, you said it's the end of the show that I need to watch.
But you got to watch it all, because
I will.
It's
I will absolutely watch the whole thing.
But all of a sudden at the end, they decide to throw this curveball at you that you go, oh my God.
I love that stuff.
This could be a really cool show.
Okay, good. And then you could put it on, you could set the DVR for it in the future and you'll collect every one of them. So there you go.
Yeah.
I love and I'm not saying, and don't tell me if this is the case, because I want to be surprised. But I love when Hollywood or TV shows or whatever, completely fictional, made up world, will reference another show or another movie, or they call those Easter eggs in movies too. So you'll be watching the movie and you go, hey, wait a minute, that guy was in something. I love that.
Not even close.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay.
It actually, you watch the show thinking, okay, she's an older, retired lawyer.
Right.
Trying to get back into the business after, a 20-year break. But no.
Okay.
But no.
Now you've said too much. Okay.
Because I know you're not the TV person and I am, and I'm not usually like a crime and mystery person. Not that much. I'm more of a Hallmark person.
Mm-hmm.
Another good show that I just saw that just started, saw the first episode, and I kind of thought, oh, this might be worth a watch. And it was, and I think the premise is excellent. It is where, the young lady who is like super intelligent, but like, I don't know how to describe it. She's good with numbers and figures.
Right.
And like photo memories, stuff. And she's just like a cleaning lady.
Is that now? There's two of those, aren't there? There's one on Fox and there's one on CBS, I think.
Well, this is the one where it's the young lady who is like a cleaning lady.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I've seen promos on both networks and it looks like the same show. Maybe I got that wrong. I don't know. But so I know what you're talking about. Yes.
But it's called
She's a cleaning lady by day and she helps the cops solve crime.
Yeah, and how she gets into it is she's like the cleaning lady for the police department. And she knocks over these papers.
Uh-huh.
And she looks at it and she's going. So she changes the board to like, that can't be the person. That's a victim. It wasn't, it's not who you're looking for as the murderer. It's another victim in the crime.
Gotcha.
And they're like screaming and yelling. And how did this happen? They look back at the camera and it goes, oh, the stupid cleaning lady changed that. They call her in.
Right.
And they say, we're going to arrest you. Why did you do this? This is illegal to do something like this. And she explained everything. And they go, oh my God, she could be right, couldn't she? Well, yeah, she could be. No, she can't be right. So then they do some more research. They go, oh my God, she's right. And she ends up solving another one of those deals where, she solves the case.
Smart, yeah. It's too long of a story to explain, but go watch. That's probably that in Bill's all-time science fiction movie rankings, all-time favorite scenes gotta be top 5. The original, The Day the Earth Stood Still, in glorious black and white, where the alien, who looks like a perfect human being, goes to the college professor's home, and the college professor has a wall full of math, of figuring out something in the universe. You see that meme all the time, the wall full of indecipherable stuff.
Big Bang
and he
Theory.
looks at it and he chuckles and he gets to the very bottom and he erases a couple of things and he adds a couple of things. And the cleaning lady stumbles in on him and goes, what the hell are you doing? And he goes, just leave it. I think the professor will want to see what I've left him. And of course, that's the message, that it's like, I'm a hell of a lot smarter than you are. And to me, that is one of the great little, and it's been used 100 times ever since then. So anyway, this is the latest version of that. That's awesome.
And the funny thing about it is she hates that she has this, I don't know if you call it a gift or a power or whatever, but she hates that she has it.
Really?
She says, I can't sleep. I see, it's like she's OCD. She sees something wrong in a problem and she's got to fix it, and it's like, she says, this is a curse, because they want to hire her then after she, does the crime.
Right.
She goes, I know, this you don't get it.
It's
I don't
a curse.
like it. I don't want, no, I don't like this gift. I don't want it. And then of course,
somebody interviewed, and this is same story. Somebody interviewed Elon Musk. Lots of people interview Elon Musk, but they asked if do you think other people would want to be doing what you're doing? And that was his answer. His answer was, he's like, you would not want to be in my head. It's a storm. It's a constant hurricane going on in my head of ideas and things to do, all of this stuff. And oh, by the way, when you're the world's richest guy, you get to do a lot of those things too. So I get it. I can see where that would be difficult or challenging, shall we say. So yeah, because if you're Elon, you're not taking the weekend off to go play golf in Scottsdale somewhere. You're just not doing it. You got other things, there's too much going on in your life and in your brain and all that you probably, does he even sleep? I don't know. So it doesn't look like a fun life to me. Anyway.
Well, this is like kind of almost a whole new thing. And I enjoyed it because always as a child,
yes,
and maybe even with you, because you got into radio.
Yes.
But always as a child, I wanted to be in entertainment, wanted to be an actor, wanted to go to Hollywood, Sure. Of course, it never happened, but I did get into radio and I did do comedy. So in a small sense, I got into, the entertainment business because that's what this is. But it's like the story of Demi Lovato, what's her name? From the Disney Channel.
Lovato, Demi Lovato?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know the story. What's the story?
It's a documentary that she did.
Okay.
And it's about, her wanting to be a child star, became a child star. And then of course, all the, becoming addicted, to, drinking. And they also had Drew Barrymore on the show.
Oh,
and some other child actors that,
right.
know, and it's a whole documentary on, what happens with child actors. And it was, for me, it was a very interesting show to watch. And I was even telling my wife, just think, I wanted to be one of those people growing up. I wanted to be a child actor. I wanted to be in show business all my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So you would have jumped on that train. See, I didn't know that about you, that it dated that far back.
Yeah.
That never occurred to me when I was a child. When I was young, I thought I wanted to be something adventurous, like, I don't know, like an airplane pilot or something like that. But yeah, the showbiz part of it never really started until college, when I started with the campus radio station and all of that kind of a thing. So that's interesting. That's cool.
And what it basically kind of centers around too is all these children, most of these children who are child actors are driven to be child actors at an early age. But then of course, sometimes, the parents get a hold of them and it's just a money machine. And then other, the producers and all that. But it's a very interesting show. And I learned
Britney Spears. Yeah.
And I learned a little bit about myself.
Oh, did you really? Okay, good. I was going to say, looking at you, Britney Spears. Yeah.
Because I had those tendencies when I was a child.
What tendencies? What to just want to be a star?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to be a star and I wanted to perform, and that was kind of in my DNA, and I was very creative. Even when I was a little kid, I'd pretend like I was in movies and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
And it would just be me because, we lived in the country. I was sickly. I didn't, so I had my own little world going on. And a lot of these child actors, as growing up, they were all in their own little world, and they were very creative. Let's just say that. And I felt as though I was very creative as a child also. So it's like you're born with that creative gene or whatever.
Right.
So watch the documentary.
I will.
It's on Hulu if you have Hulu.
I will. So I think I hear what you're saying, and that's interesting. And that is because you think, because you were, maybe the word is isolated as a child. I mean, you were in a small town. You were, like you said, you also had all those health issues that kept you from being out there and enjoying what might be a normal life. So you had to do it all yourself. You had to do it all internally, kind of for yourself. Now, good for you that you made that you flipped that switch, because some people will just be miserable for their lives. They'll be like, oh, I'm from a small town. Nobody loves me. I'll just go eat dirt, that kind of thing. And then you have the health stuff that keeps you separate, and you have all of that. But you didn't. You used your creative juices and whatever, put that to work. So good for you. That's a good story. That's a good,
Yeah, because I know
Reason number 742 why BJ Odom should be writing his autobiography.
Well, I need to find a ghostwriter that'll sit down with me, and I can tell them all these little things going on in my brain, and they could probably help me write one hell of a book. But I don't think I could do it on my own. I don't think. I mean, I have creativity, but I don't have the brains to.
No, I understand. To
write a book.
Yeah,
because that takes English and spelling and all that stuff.
Hey, nowadays it doesn't take English and spelling. That's what AI is for. You can plug it into your favorite Google whatever AI motor and clean up the spelling, clean up the grammar, whatever. But yes, you still do need somebody to collect all those thoughts and turn it into a real story, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 kind of a thing. But yeah, I think that's worth doing. I mean, I'm not going to volunteer for it because it's, I probably could do it, but it sounds like a hell of a lot of work. And I'm not really into a hell of a lot of work at this particular time in my life. So,
but you can make millions, Bill Stevens. You can make millions.
You probably could. I mean, with all the friends and family and the connections, the social media connections you have, you could put that out there for sure. I mean, I've talked to people about, they want to write a book or something like that. And they're like, but I don't know how to, I'm like, just write it. I mean, think in terms of, what was that? 50 Shades of Grey. Again, you're not writing a book on sex, but think of 50 Shades of Grey. I know, darn. She got turned down by every major publisher. Everyone. Dozens of big name book publishing companies said, nah, no thanks. So she published it herself on Amazon, and $1 billion later, they're like thinking, yeah, maybe we should have taken a chance on her.
Oh, that's like last week's interview on the Gift of Life, the organ transplant podcast. Talked to Peggy Lindsay. She said when she found out she needed a heart transplant, she wanted to know as much as she could, talk to patients and stuff like that. And there was no books or anything on it. So she has now written a book
about heart transplants.
Yeah. It's called The Beat Goes On, or My Beat Go. No, shoot, I don't.
The Beat Goes On would be a fabulous name for a book about heart transplants.
It was real close. Let me see if my notes are here.
Okay. I mean, whatever. That's still a great name for a book about heart transplant. So she talked to. Are you in the book?
No, but I might have been. Listen, I know we're going overtime here. I got to hurry up and we got to end this. But she was telling me that there was because she wasn't going to get a heart transplant.
Oh.
She was afraid. She like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
And she said she was at Tampa General, and she talked to a gentleman who had had his heart transplant like 20 years ago. And I know when I'm at the hospital and they say, hey, there's someone that's having trouble, putting their head around, if they want a transplant or not, would you be willing to talk to them and show them what you look like and how you're doing?
Awesome.
And I said, yes, I have no problem with that.
Make a note about that. I want to hear about that on on another show someday.
So she thinks that I may be the person, and we can't confirm it. Maybe if we met, we would. I don't know, because we didn't do it on Zoom or anything. We just did it over the phone. But she thinks I could have been that guy who, encouraged her to do it.
That's fabulous.
Yeah,
that is fabulous. I want to hear more about how they put you in front of people who are having, but again, like you said, that's another day for another show. So cool.
Yeah, so but listen, that would have been like episode 22, 21, something like that. But yeah, her name is Peggy Lindsay.
Okay. Awesome.
And I think it's The Beat Go. Shoot, I wish I could remember it.
Well, you could probably, is it, I mean, it's a real book. It's really out there right now.
Yeah. And it's on Amazon.
Right. All right. So if we do Peggy, and is it
Lindsay?
Lindsay. Lindsay.
Yeah.
And it is My Beat Goes On, Chronicles of a Heart Transplant.
There you go.
Awesome. My Beat Goes On.
I'm just going to give her a real quick plug here, but not only can you get that book on Amazon, but she's also taking a portion of the proceeds and she's going to give it to Tampa General Hospital. in hopes of someone who maybe can't afford a heart transplant, it can help them with their bills as far as getting a transplant.
Awesome. That's
so she
really
says
awesome.
She believes in, paying it back.
Right. Wow. That's a beautiful thing. All right. Now I'm going to have to go listen to that episode of your podcast there. Good for you. All right. You're right. We do need to get out of here. Things are running a little over time, but that's okay. And my lawn maintenance guys showed up, so I hope that hasn't caused anything in the background. You say you don't hear that, so I'll take your word for it. All good?
I think my dog barking probably caused more. She got excited once in there, and I heard.
Go out there, make it a great week. The beat goes on. I love that. That's just so good. All right. We will talk more next week. Have yourself a great week. Until then, it's just up to BJ Odom to say,
see ya.